Bill and Hillary Clinton just sent Congress a scathing letter telling House Oversight Chair James Comer to pound sand. They're flat out refusing to testify about their connections to Jeffrey Epstein despite being legally subpoenaed. The power couple is essentially saying we are above the law. But Congress isn't backing down. What happens when unstoppable force meets an immovable object? We're going to find out, because this is not just political theater. It's a constitutional crisis in the making. When former presidents and secretaries of state can simply ignore congressional subpoenas, what does that say about equal justice under the law? Well, for you and me, ignoring a subpoena means jail time. But apparently the Clintons think different. Rules apply to them. The House is now moving to hold both Bill and Hillary in contempt of Congress, something that could result in criminal referrals. Now, even Democrats who promised transparency on Epstein files are mysteriously going silent when it comes to their own party's power players. This sets a very dangerous precedent. If the Clintons can defy Congress, who else will follow suit? Now, before we dive deeper into this constitutional showdown, let me tell you about something that's really important about protecting your wealth in these uncertain times. You see, if you're over 40 and planning to retire someday, the window to protect what you've built may be smaller than you realize. Here's a question that most people never ask. Is your portfolio built for what's coming next? Many investors in their 40s and 50s discovered they have little to no exposure to precious metals. That means that their savings are largely tied to markets, policies, and paper assets with very little protection if conditions change. As retirement moves from someday to on the horizon, protecting what you've already built becomes just as important as growing it, and that's where Noble Gold Investments comes in. They will help investors reduce risk by adding physical gold to their portfolios. And right now, might be a smart time to talk with Noble Gold Investments. No pressure set, no sales gimmicks, just clear answers and a strategy built around your goals. Visit nextnewsgold.com and build your portfolio for the long term. That's nextnewsgold.com, or that number on the screen. We thank them for their sponsorship of this program, especially the price of gold right now, right? Price of silver, have you checked? Keep an eye out this weekend. We'll have an interview exclusive with Colin you do not want to miss. Now back to the Clintons' brazen defiance of congressional authority. That's right. Here's what makes this even more explosive. Just 3 days ago, Democrat Robert Garcia was on camera demanding transparency. Demanding transparency on the Epstein files, claiming that there's a White House cover-up. He promised Democrats, we're working every single day to get the truth. But when it came time for the Clinton depositions, Garcia was a complete no-show. The hypocrisy is staggering, but not surprising. Democrats want Epstein truth until it involves their own. The Clintons defy subpoenas in the Jeffrey Epstein investigation is the big headline. The House Oversight Committee, our friend James Comer, this is what he posted not too long ago. You may have seen it. Exclusive. Watch Hillary Clinton's empty chair deposition after she refused to appear. That's how they do it. Just like her husband, Secretary Clinton, is defying our duly authorized congressional subpoena, we are initiating contempt of Congress proceedings for both.
We'll go on the record. Good morning. We'll go on the record. Good morning. This is a deposition of former Secretary Hillary R. Clinton conducted by the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform. On July 23, 2025, the Subcommittee on Federal Law Enforcement unanimously voted to approve a motion directing the committee to authorize and issue a subpoena to former Secretary Clinton for a deposition. I'm going to note for the record that former Secretary Clinton is not present. The time is 10:05. We are going to mark items for the record. We will mark as Exhibit 1 a cover letter from Chairman Comer dated August 5th, 2025, enclosing the deposition subpoena and email confirmation from former Secretary Clinton's attorney, David Kendall, accepting the letter and the subpoena. We will mark as Exhibit 7 the deposition notice issued by the committee on December 12th, 2025. We will mark as Exhibit 8 a letter dated December 15th, 2025 from Chair.
Does this make you furious? They are proceeding with the entire deposition of Hillary Clinton to an open and empty room. An empty chair. Her placard is sitting right in front of where she's supposed to be sitting. This is the mark of arrogance, elitism. If there was ever an instance where you needed to believe that somebody was above the law, you needed the evidence. You're one of those doubting Thomases, perhaps? Well, here it is. Here it is. This is the moment. Hillary Clinton's empty chair. And they're going through the procedures that's required because they're getting it on the record. The GOP's bombshell announcement about empty chairs sets up our next source, highlighting what survivors are really waiting for. Amber speaks up. The Epstein files are now 26 days overdue, and they're still denying survivors the transparency they've waited decades for. Survivors are demanding transparency. The political machinery is cranking in a high gear with criminal contempt proceedings. Breitbart News. James Comer moves to hold Hillary Clinton in criminal contempt for defying a legal subpoena about Jeffrey Epstein.
Do you have any idea of timing of when this might hit the House floor? And will
Yes. When will this hit the House floor? We're going to vote on it in committee Wednesday, so we're giving plenty of notice. We're having a markup, a regularly scheduled markup for the House Oversight Committee. We will mark up criminal contempt of Congress charges for both Clintons for defying a legal subpoena. Once it passes the committee, then it will go to the full House floor for a vote. They have to notice it 3 days and all of that.
It's going to go to the whole House floor. They're going to hold her in contempt. It's going to get out of committee. And then they're going to go to the House floor. Oh, that's going to be fun to watch. How do you think the line? That's going to be the true test. That's going to be the line. Of course, it's going to be drawn down party lines. That's how these things work. Thankfully, we still have a majority. And that's why it's important that we win in 2026. In this year, the midterms are upon us, my friends. There is no time to sit back and wait. Oh, it's just the midterms. Everything's riding on the midterms. You want to see more impeachment proceedings? I don't think so. The criminal contempt announcement triggers immediate pushback from Republicans, drawing stark comparisons to recent precedents. Tim Burchett, Hillary Clinton, no show. When I reminded the press Steve Bannon and Bannon's war room in Real Navarro were in prison, they put their cameras down. Of course they did. They don't want people to be reminded of that fact. Bannon and Navarro perp walked for contempt of Congress, sitting in a cell. We remember those days. I remember reporting on it. Here we have exact same situation. I remember seeing the video of Bannon being paraded through the halls. It was a shocking sight to see. And Navarro getting released from prison. I mean, the Clintons? Disgusting.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett just left they subpoenaed Bill and Hillary Clinton on the Epstein situation. Of course, they no-showed. My buddy Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro didn't show up, and they got sent to prison. That's a double standard. And I'll tell you, the bigger double standard is when I mentioned that in the press conference. I wish we'd had it on film, but the press just put their cameras down immediately when I said that. I looked across the front row, 3 or 4 of them, right like that. It's these cards are very much stacked against us and justice. And the Clintons, of course, they thumb their nose at justice because they're allowed to. They've been allowed to since they were in Arkansas, and they're going to continue to do it. And it's really a shame that that's the pinnacle of success for the Democrat Party, really, is that bunch. But that's what we're dealing with. And of course, they had a paid agitator out there yelling at us during this thing and during the press conference, and just pathetic, really. But that's where the left is right now. Thank y'all for sending me here.
That's where the left is right now. Thank you for sending me. Thank you for representing the people, sir. Thank you for speaking truth. Tim Burchett's media observation leads us to examine the specific evidence that makes the case so politically explosive. Clinton's defying the subpoenas to testify because Bill took 26 trips on Epstein's airplane so he could be an expert on the Epstein subject. Of course he is. The flight logs revelation segues perfectly to the committee's formal next steps. Next Wednesday, the committee will vote on the resolutions to hold Bill and Hillary in contempt. Then it goes to the full House and over to the DOJ. Comer, I know how Merrick Garland handled Navarro and Bannon, and I would hope that they would try to go. Here he is with Laura Ingraham.
They did not come in. They've been very combative. We're going to hold them in contempt in the House Oversight Committee on Wednesday. And then the following week, when we're in session, the full House will vote on it. I fully expect every Republican to vote for it. And I think we might even get some Democrats. And then that'll be turned over to the Department of Justice, and Pam Bondi and the Trump Department of Justice can handle that however they want. I know how Merrick Garland handled Navarro and Bannon, and I would hope that they would try to go that same route.
I hope they would go that same route. I just, it's going to be a circus. There's no question about it. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm so looking forward to it. The committee's procedural roadmap sets up pointed questions about what specifically the Clintons might be avoiding. Why is the subpoena Bill Clinton refusing to show up for his deposition, says the unknown. Something to hide about Rachel Chandler and Shantae Davies, or his good friend Prince Andrew? Of course, these are questions about Clinton's connections to the broader connections of what he's been doing. Another, Representative Andy Biggs, Bill Clinton didn't show up for his deposition. In GOP oversight this morning, what is he hiding? These are the reactions after the empty chair episode.
Hi, Andy Biggs here. Just walked out of the Oversight Committee deposition scheduled for former President Clinton. He chose not to come today. We issued a bipartisan subpoena. Every Democrat and every Republican on that committee voted to have him come in and testify before us in a deposition just to answer questions because of the frequency that Jeffrey Epstein visited the White House when Clinton was the president, and also his flights. But they chose not to come after the months and months of trying to accommodate them and a bipartisan subpoena. So we hope that they'll respond to the contempt citation, which will be voted on next week.
Are they going to respond to the contempt citation? No. What difference does it make? Remember? Republican pressure is building as we see the scope expanding from Bill to Hillary in parallel proceedings. So it's like partners in crime. Newsmax reporting. In contempt, House Oversight Chair Comer says his committee will move to hold Hillary in contempt after she skipped a scheduled deposition in its Epstein probe one day after he announced the same proceedings against former President Bill Clinton. House panel moving to hold Hillary Clinton in contempt. Lock her up! Lock her up. Say it with me. Lock her up. Say it with me. Lock her up. Lock her up. Remember saying that at the rallies? Maybe we'll finally get that dream. That wish. You can only wish so much, right? Maybe the Wicked Witch will finally see her orange jumpsuit. She'll get the Navarro treatment and the Bannon treatment, right? Ugh. The Contempt proceeding announcements collide with Democrat hypocrisy as their own members expose the contradiction. Chicago One Ray. 3 days ago, Robert Garcia said, there's a cover-up by the White House of the Epstein files. That's what Garcia said. We're working every day to get the truth on the Epstein files. And of course, today he was a no-show, along with the rest of the Democrats for Clinton's deposition. This video didn't age very well.
We know, Trump's name and certain photos have been removed, added back. There is clearly a cover-up being directed by the White House here. There is no question about that. We've got to continue the pressure, one, on the legal front. We're working right now to get hopefully a federal special...
There's a cover-up, everybody. There's a cover-up. Somebody knows something and they're not talking about it. His name is Bill Clinton. Hillary Clinton. That's the cover-up. Oh, but everyone look over here at the White House. We found these pictures of Donald Trump at public events at Mar-a-Lago, where Jeffrey Epstein was creeping around. And this guy has the audacity.
Master to oversee some of the documentation. Ro Khanna, of course, an Oversight Committee member, is leading on that with Tom Massey. We have efforts to get Pam Bondi in front right now of the Oversight Committee, and we're forcing additional information. House
We're going to
Oversight
force her in front of the Oversight Committee, but we're not going to force the Clintons. No, no, no.
Force new subpoenas on Republicans just this week for critical members of Epstein's inner circle that is going to also produce additional information. So the work's not stopping. We're working every single day to get the truth on the Epstein files, and they're going to get released to the public.
Frazzle drip. Democrat no-shows and contradictions set the stage for the Clintons' own defiant response to mounting pressure. Radar Online even reporting it, too. Bill and Hillary have lashed out at the House Oversight Chair James Comer, firing off a heated letter to the Kentucky Republican and defiantly refusing to appear for a deposition about disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein. Oh, yes. Read word for word the letter Bill and Hillary Clinton sent Congress. Can we read it? Let's go. Okay, what is all this? We don't want all these pop-ups. Bill and Hillary Clinton have lashed out at House Oversight Chair James Comer, firing off a heated letter to finally refuse to appear. Radar Online can reveal. After months of delays and rescheduled subpoenas, the Clintons were due to finally spill their secrets this week. In their over 1,200-word letter, probably written by ChatGPT, signed jointly, the Clintons exclaimed, every person has to decide when they have seen or had enough and are ready to fight for this country, its principles, and its people, no matter the consequences. For us, now is that time. Really? You're rising up to fight for this country? This is the moment. This is the hill you're going to die on. The power couple accusing Comer of hindering the Epstein investigation by focusing on a personal grudge he seems to have against them. Really? It's about a grudge? Sure. More deflection. The facts speak for themselves. You subpoenaed 8 people in addition to us. You dismissed 7 of those 8 without any of them saying a single word to you. You made no attempt to force them to appear. In fact, since you started your investigation last year, you have interviewed a total of 2 people. 2! That's according to the letter. Partisan politics at play, that's what they say. This is the letter. You're seeing it here. Source, PresidentClinton.com. Clearly fed up, the former leaders then turned the tables on Comer and even the government itself. We have tried to give you the little information that we have. We have done so because Mr. Epstein's crimes were horrific. What was Bill doing on those planes? What was he doing in those hot tubs? In those nice steamy indoor pools, those island retreats, massages, cigars. The perfect environment. The perfect environment for Bill Clinton. We know how much he loves those things, right? We've seen the pictures too. We've tried to give you what little information that we have. The crimes were so horrific. If the government didn't do it all it could to investigate and prosecute these crimes for whatever reason, that should be the focus of your work. To learn why and to prevent that from ever happening again. Yeah, that's what they're trying to freaking do. To learn why you guys were there. They want to know the extent of it. Because, Jeffrey Epstein didn't Epstein himself. So they can't ask him. They've already gone after Ghislaine. She's singing. She's getting favors. But you can't trust her. These pop-ups are killing me. We've done so because the crimes were horrific. If the government didn't do it all, blah, blah, blah. Instead, you've forced the victims to relive their painful experiences while doing little to give them and everyone else what's deserved. Truth and justice. There's no plausible explanation for what you are doing other than part of the politics. I can hear Hillary's voice. I can hear it. It's the contradictions, the hypocrisy in every single word of this letter is astounding. The arrogance of these people. Yeah. So it goes on and on. We can keep going with this Radar Online thing here. But the fact of the matter is that it ain't going away. It's not stopping. And we're going to be tracking every single minute of it. I can't wait to see this, the committee and then the vote. Oh, get ready for the circus. So the Clintons' letter that I just read for you to Chairman Comer reportedly says the facts speak for themselves, but they're refusing to let Congress hear those facts under oath. If you have nothing to hide about Jeffrey Epstein, why fight a subpoena? Their defiance screams guilt louder than any testimony ever could, and empty chairs tell their own story. This is about more than just the Clintons or even Jeffrey Epstein. This is about whether we have one system of justice for the powerful and another for everyone else. When subpoenas become suggestions for the political elite, our republic dies. Congress must follow through on contempt charges and criminal referrals, or this precedent will destroy congressional oversight forever. The Clintons are betting they're untouchable, and frankly, based on their track record, they might be right. But maybe, just maybe, this time will be different. So do you think the Clintons will face real consequences for defying Congress? Let me know your thoughts. And while you're engaging, check out the Next News merch shop for gear that shows you are not afraid to demand accountability from our so-called leaders.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now. You know out.